They call for an uprising. Look at what I just got. Yep. That could have been 5 bags of flour. That could have been 5 bags of flour and 2 more cans of beans. So that when the zombie 5G nuclear attack comes, I'm gonna be wishing I had those 5 bags of flour, because they're really gonna help me out in a situation like that. You'll be laughing. You'll be laughing at me then, won't you? I used to give those kind of guys a break, like those sort of fear mongers, those the fear merchants. I figured, like, whatever, who cares, it doesn't affect you. It's some guy doing his thing. If he wants to scare people, whatever. But then after doing this for a couple of years, and then seeing so much more of that, and just the egregious fucking thumbnails, like, you know, horrified families running from something with their faces melting off. And it's like, now that a little bit of time has gone on, it's like, dude, you told me and my family were already dead and didn't know it like 4 years ago. Where's he at in the fucking narrative now? Well, I understand many of you are now in the afterlife, but you have to understand, just because in your afterlife does not mean the danger and the struggle is over. That's why you need the all-purpose Very Light, using my promo code. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is he now in the narrative? You know, I haven't tuned into him in a while, because it's just so silly. Like, I get it, you know, but if you want to fucking scare someone for money, there's other ways to do it. I mean, shit. You could be a fucking, you can work at Avis to scare people for money. I mean, whatever. It's not my business what these people do. It's just like, when you're out here trying to involve God and evoke spirituality and stuff like that, and you're trying to scare people so that you can, you know, sell them your flashlights or whatever. I don't know. It just seems so lame. It just seems weird. I get it though. You know, there's a lot of people that will spend time watching that stuff, and a lot of those channels are just controlled up. Anyway, they're controlled up against the control, and now there's a controlled up against the controlled up. Like, there are these new channels that come up that are trying to debunk the truth channels, and people don't understand how deep this shit goes. For instance, the Laurel Canyon stuff, the hippie movement, rock and roll and stuff, that was all invented by the Tavistock Institute with the CIA. They invented the term hippie. Jerry Garcia was in their pocket, and in fact some of the lyrics allude to it, how he was working for Uncle Sam. And what they do is, they know when they're trying to make these societal, it can be a couple different things. In the case of the hippie movement, they're making these kind of societal changes, right, that normally a population may react to unfavorably for them. So what they do is they create the hippie movement as a protest against the evil shit they're doing. And the hippie movement is toothless. It's about doing drugs and peace, and that was, let's stick it to the man by doing, you know, bad acid and smoking crappy weed. So anyone that was going to protest, there's a hippie protest going, they control that opposition. But then they knew there'd be a reaction to that, so then they had the anti-hippie people, and Frank Zappa was in charge of that group as far as the musicians go. You know, he hated hippies, and the Alice Cooper group hated hippies, and they're trying to put a, you know, stake in the heart of the hippie generation, all this stuff, all this talk. So they create the opposition, then opposition to the opposition, you know. So you're seeing this in the truth movement now, where there's guys coming out with these, and some of the channels are actually legit, I think. I don't know. Like Niven, I like him because he gets pretty deep. He's above my head. Like, some of the stuff he'll point out in these truth people that are having streams or something in their room, he'll point out all the satanic shit in their, like, he'd have a fucking field day if he looked at my videos. Holy shit. Right? I mean, there's probably what would count as satanic stuff all around. But, and I like him, he's good. But there's other guys that have appeared on the scene that are kind of like Niven, but I noticed they were kind of getting a lot of subs quick and a lot of attention quick, and they're making a lot of videos, like way too many. Like, do you have a job? And then like you start to look at their videos and what they're saying, and it's just like gatekeepers of any other kind of group. Like if you watch like the anti superhero movie, like the Nerdrotic or something, he's against wokeism and, you know, genre movies. He's like one of the leading guys. He's controlled, right? So he's not going to talk about certain things. He'll talk about Hollywood and the breadth of ideas, but the JQ ties right into that, and he will never mention the JQ. There's a lot of stuff about that guy that's really interesting if you have the time to take a deep dive on him. So then you get guys like that that are against themselves, like they're themselves being Hollywood, like they have their opposition, the controlled opposition. Well, now there's truth guys that are controlled opposition, and the truth people are opposing, you know, the satanic fucking corporations and mass media. So now they have these new guys. I just went like all around the way to tell you the same thing I told you quicker 5 minutes ago. It's fucking retarded sometimes. But the point is, these guys give themselves up too. They give themselves up too. So there's one guy that was an anti-truther guy who was calling out the truthers, and there were a lot of things. And then I found out by looking at some of his other social media what he was really about. But the funny thing is like some of the guys he was going against are actual controlled opposition anyway. So he's a fake guy going after fake guys. It's like you don't know who's small hat and who anymore. It's very confusing. But a good way to tell though is just if you see someone appear on the scene, right? And this goes for video games, this goes for truth subjects. It happens a lot in the anti-woke Hollywood crowd, the comic book guys, the Marvel movie guys. You'll see some dude show up, like fucking Pencilhead, and you'll be like, oh, they keep suggesting Pencilhead, and then all of a sudden you see, hey, you know, we're doing a live stream, Critical Drinker, and Pencilhead's our guest, and then Midnight Edge has Pencilhead on. And then Pencilhead will start doing his own streams, and then he has... Now, yes, organically it can work that way. But if you follow the trajectory of some of these guys, especially in the anti-Hollywood superhero crowd, it's completely unnatural. And they're always pushed to the top. So it's almost like Poll has this problem too. A lot of 4chan has this problem too, where there's now so many shows on it that are arguing for both sides. That people would have a hard time figuring out just what the fuck's going on. Soon it's going to push everyone out of these spaces, and it's just going to be, the bad guys just fighting with themselves, you know? If it's not already there. But whatever, I don't know how I got on that rant, but I just wanted to do the thing about call for an uprising and how I could have 5 bags of flour and 2 extra cans of beans, which when the marauding gangs are going around trying to steal resources, really going to help me out. Don't blame the teacher. Blame the school.